somebody can't speak to that, immediately it's kind of like, oh, they're part of the unwashed masses. And so I think it's nice sometimes just to keep in mind the sheer awe of copy and paste, and that that they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
A doctor that we were doing some consulting work for, that I was fixing something on his machine, and he goes, oh, what's wrong? He goes, well, just you click through that so fast. He goes, the way you do it, he goes, it amazes me. And I say, yeah, but watch me screw up a pair of cataracts. What I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's easy kind of to laugh at somebody when you're faced with their lack of knowledge in your field, but you got to take a step back sometimes and remember, oh, wait, there's things that I don't know that this guy could probably kick my ass at. It's not to say that there aren't people with just some dumb questions out there, but, more often than not, it's not a dumb person with a dumb question. It's a smart person in another field with a question that looks dumb in this field. So, were there any other? You had your hand up again. Did you want to?
You mentioned John Brockman and the.
Yeah.
There's actually a couple of great books that his people have come out with.
Mm-hmm.
One called "What I Believe But Cannot Prove."
Oh yeah.
And another one called "Dangerous Ideas."
Yep.
Where it pretty much talks about, are there ways in which we're getting ahead of ourselves technologically, and are there things that even the brainiest brains think we could introduce this to a society that perhaps not ready for it and destroy a few things?
Yeah.
Do you have any reflections on that? Do you think there's anything that we maybe are coming to that cusp of, and that there should be an ethical component that goes with science that would guide us instead of keep experimenting until it goes terribly wrong?
We came to that cusp, certainly in the development of nuclear weapons. We've depending on the tech, but that was one of the. In fact, I think that was one of the things that got into the sci-fi literature back from the 50s, is that you see these bleak future scenarios that were based on people they walked out of their house one day, picked up the newspaper, and there's this gigantic mushroom cloud, and cities were suddenly able to be destroyed all at once. And even then, scientists, was it the Pugwash group? Scientists got together and said, we've just developed some incredible stuff. If this gets into the wrong hands, if too many people, and it was almost by the skin of our teeth at a couple times that the USA and the USSR did not go to nuclear war. There were a few points where there's some stories that if you look into the military history of it, what was it, 1987 or 87, or is it 83? There was the U.S. started a military exercise. They would have these military exercises right by each other's borders, and it would be a saber rattling and stuff. And there was this one guy in a Russian air defense thing who saw on his computer missiles coming at him, and he said, it was like one missile, and he's like, this can't be right. They're not going to launch one missile. They're going to launch a real strike. He actually did not trust his technology and pushed the retaliation button. He said, oh, this ain't right, and averted a nuclear war. A similar thing happened, I think, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, is that, again, it was a Russian. It was a submarine commander, had partial misinformation and said, I'm not doing this. I don't think that's what is happening on the surface, because he was sub-commander underwater. There have been times already where, by sheer luck and the willingness of commanders mid-level commanders to risk their careers, we did not go to nuclear war. The EDGE every year asks its member thinkers. Sometimes it's what is your most dangerous idea, or what do you know? You know that it's true, but you can't prove it yet, and they write those books out of it. So right now, in terms of dangerous stuff, I think nuclear weapons are there's tons of them are lying around. We think because the Cold War's over that it's not really an issue anymore, but nobody dismantled all of those intercontinental missiles. They're sitting around. What else? That's the one I can think of off the top of my head. But it is an issue and that's where I do say that the EDGE community is really good, because they ask that sort of question of their scientific members. So I'll leave it at that. Did you have another thing? You had your hand up again.
It was back on the doctor sample.
Okay.
Because And that kind of the thing, doctors have had a couple thousand years to work out how they do medicine.
Mhm.
We do have a very structured way of going down through the list and say, when did the problem start, what are the symptoms, and being better or worse. I think it might be useful for, in the technology field to develop something like that. Even if it wasn't, an industry-wide thing, even if a consulting company did that and had like a checklist or some kind of, drill-down type of a diagnosis tool, that would be a huge advantage. To be able to, ask the questions and get people to give you the information that you need to make the best diagnosis of the problem.
I think actually right now you can probably just get a personal coach who would teach you interview techniques and how to talk to people so far to elicit the best response and to drag the information out of them so you can go ahead and do a professional consulting job.
That's not part of any technical training right now. Is the problem.
It's a course all in itself. But yeah, it should be part of the basic. What goes at the educated if you can't communicate?
Well, it's 12:55, so we got to at least end this part of it so the next talks can come through. But keep talking. I'll join you back there.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.